Yoga is a mainstream practice that joins breathing, development, and contemplation. Imported to the United States from India longer than a century prior, yoga has for quite some time been commended for its physical and profound advantages. Research shows yoga can help oversee stress, 1. Ease melancholy and anxiety, 2. Improve mood, 3. And upgrade the nature of sleep. 4. Furthermore, yoga has been appeared to build adaptability, improve parity and coordination, diminish torment, and increment quality. Taking your first yoga class may appear to be overpowering, however it doesn't need to be threatening on the off chance that you realize what's in store. An ordinary yoga class is 45 minutes to an hour and a half and starts with breathing activities as a warm-up, moves on to models for the greater part of the class, and finishes with contemplation as a chill-off. Yoga basics. The most ideal approach to learn yoga is by doing it, yet in case you're anxious about going to a class, don't avoid doing a bit of concentrating before you join in. Think about the accompanying sorts of yoga. Classes arrive in an assortment of yoga styles, so it is a smart thought to peruse the class depictions at your nearby yoga studios to discover a class that is directly for you. Basic sorts include Hatha yoga classes will in general be useful for apprentices since they're more slow-moving. Vinyasa, Ashtanga, and Force yoga classes can be additionally testing, contingent upon the degree of guidance. Iyengar has a solid spotlight on legitimate arrangement, and regularly utilizes props to assist understudies with culminating their structure. Hot yoga will be yoga rehearsed in a hot domain. Numerous studios arrive at 104 degrees F. Numerous individuals appreciate doing yoga in the warmth, however individuals who are touchy to warm or have certain ailments may discover hot yoga awkward. Kundalini yoga is regularly utilized as a recuperating sort of yoga, and classes may join contemplation, reciting, and profound components. As indicated by Look Into distributed in the Journal of Complementary and Alternative Medicine, Kundalini yoga methods can be useful for dealing with the over-the-top urgent issue, fears, compulsion and substance misuse issue, significant burdensome issue, dyslexia, misery, a sleeping disorder, and other rest issue. The most popular types of yoga. Relaxing. Yoga puts a solid spotlight on breathing, which research shows can truly take care of with regards to your well-being. Yoga is about the breath, says Janae Rose, a 500-hour registered yoga teacher, online wellness mentor, and internet-based life influencer. The hardest part is appearing, so on the off chance that you can simply ace breathing, you're rehearsing. As indicated by a recent report distributed in Medical Science Monitor Basic Research, a solitary, 25-minute guided convention of substitute nostril yoga breathing altogether diminished circulatory strain and breathing rate in hypertensive and solid volunteers. Postures. Contingent upon the studio and educator, present names may be referenced in Sanskrit or English, or a blend thereof. This can be befuddling the initial not many occasions you go to class. Audit the absolute most regular postures to acclimate yourself with the English and Sanskrit names, just as their fundamental structure. Top choices like youngster's posture, Balasana, and descending confronting hound, Adho Mukha Svanasana, are joined into pretty much every yoga class. Other normal postures and arrangements incorporate the warrior stances and sun greetings. Basic yoga poses for beginners. Supplies. Most studios urge understudies to bring their own yoga mats to class, however in the event that you don't have your very own tangle, they're frequently accessible to lease for a little charge. Check with your nearby studio to perceive what their convention is. Else, you're probably not going to require quite a bit of anything. Studios and exercise centers commonly give all the gear and props you'll require, including supports, squares, and covers. On the off chance that you intend to attempt yoga at home, you might need to purchase a couple of nuts and bolts or discover substitutes around your home before you start. For example, you can utilize a belt or scarf instead of a yoga lash and toss cushions or a solid hard spread book for yoga squares. Fundamental and optional yoga equipment for beginners. What to wear. Pick agreeable, stretchy jeans or shorts and a snug top that won't fly up over your head each time you play out a reversal. You won't need uncommon shoes since yoga is done shoeless. You can likewise wear a couple of yoga socks with holds on the base to shield your feet from sliding around on your tangle. Class settings. Yoga studios are generally where hopeful understudies go to get familiar with the training. Be that as it may, they're by all account not the only accessible choice for guidance. And there are upsides and downsides to every choice. Exercise centers. These days practically all huge rec centers offer yoga classes. In the event that you as of now have an exercise center participation, you can regularly get to classes at no extra expense. Huge numbers of these educators are profoundly qualified, in spite of the fact that you may likewise get some new teachers hoping to fabricate their experience and aptitudes. Yoga studios, often home to exceptionally qualified educators who center principally around yoga. Most studios additionally offer a wide scope of classes stumbled for the duration of the day. Be that as it may, yoga studios will in general be progressively costly, and for certain individuals, they can feel additionally scary. At home, with the accessibility of cell phones and gushing video administrations, you can get to online classes from pretty much any place. Online classes or DVDs are a superb and reasonable alternative for the individuals who don't approach face-to-face guidance, or the individuals who need to slide into the training before going to a class. While there's nothing amiss with beginning an at-home practice, this sort of guidance needs customized criticism, so it's difficult for tenderfoots to know whether they're getting present spot on. At whatever point conceivable, it's ideal to go to in any event a couple of classes with a certified educator before choosing to go only at. Is it better to take yoga classes at a gym or a studio? Class etiquette. Yoga decorum, generally, is genuinely plain as day. Regard the educator, regard your kindred understudies, and regard yourself and the training. Seemingly insignificant details, such as appearing on schedule, killing your telephone's ringer before class, and remaining in class through the finish of the last unwinding, have a major effect. Yoga etiquette and the basics of a yoga class. Fundamental class structure. Most yoga classes follow a comparative content, despite the fact that the subtleties change dependent on the kind of yoga you're doing and the degree of guidance. From the second you step foot in the studio, as far as possible of your top notch, this is the thing that you can anticipate. Check in at the front counter. Appear somewhat early so you have the opportunity to get set up and discover your space. Additionally, if it's your first time, you may need to round out desk work before taking an interest. Enter the studio and discover your space. Take your shoes off before you enter. Lay your tangle down so it's confronting a similar course as the other understudies' mats. Inquire as to whether you'll require any extra props for the class. Tell the teacher if it's your first time. Sit unobtrusively on your tangle until the class begins. In the event that you need, do your very own couple warm-up extends before class starts. Follow the class stream. Classes normally start with essential breathing activities and more slow, increasingly efficient stances to assist you with getting warm. A few educators may lead you in a progression of OMS, drones, or guided contemplation before beginning physical stances. Classes at that point work in speed and force, before steadily easing back down again and doing further stretches. Numerous classes wrap up with situated, at that point lying presence, getting done with savasana, or carcass represent, a significant unwinding period where your body takes in everything it's found out before you progress back to regular daily existence. Classes regularly end with all the more profound relaxing. Since yoga is about the breath as much as the physical practice, these last breathing activities are a useful suggestion to remain concentrated on the breath as you go all through the remainder of your day. Try not to be found napping if your teacher drives you in a serenade. You don't need to take an interest on the off chance that you don't feel great. Pose inquiries after class. Most educators stay to address any inquiries you may have. This is an extraordinary time to get more data on explicit postures or to just build up a relationship with your teacher. After class wraps up, set aside some effort to consider the experience. Survey what you loved or didn't care for, and think about whether the speed and guidance were fitting for your capacity level. Equipped with this data, you can conclude whether to keep going to a similar class later on or to change things up and have a go at something other than what's expected. Setting limits. Yoga is an individual practice. What's protected and compelling for one individual may not be sheltered or powerful for another. While most yoga presents are totally sheltered, it's essential to tune into your body and set your own cutoff points as you go. For example, in the event that you have low back issues, you may need to approach your educator for changes to essential postures like the remaining forward overlay or furrow present. What's more, in case you're beginning a locally established yoga practice, it's especially critical to look over represents that are most hazardous for amateurs so you don't have a go at something you're not prepared for. Because presents like handstands and crows are well known to flaunt on Instagram, that doesn't mean you're prepared to attempt them. Numerous yoga presents require considerable quality and equalization that sets aside some effort to create. Start by building up an essential practice and give yourself an opportunity to work up from that point. On the off chance that you battle through longer practices, don't be humiliated. Numerous new yogis are amazed by how testing yoga can be. Take breaks in youngsters' posture at whatever point you have to, and on the off chance that you'd like, practice fledgling yoga presence intended to help assemble quality when you have a couple of moments all alone. Before you know it, you'll have the option to endure an entire class like a champ.